Are there any preliminary matters before we begin?
Yeah, at this time, we would move for sequestration of all witnesses that will testify either today or any future date. We would make an exception for the officer in charge.
Okay. We will allow the parties or have the parties to ensure that the sequestration order is enforced and are complied with. Anything from the people?
Thank you, Your Honor, and I have cleared the courtroom of all witnesses other than my officer in charge.
I've had my client look at the members of the audience. She has indicated that she does have family members here, but they're not witnesses.
Very well. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor, and just before I call my first witness, at this time, I would move to admit people's proposed exhibit number 1. It is a autopsy report for the deceased victim in this case, Nyrius Nichols, that is spelled NYAPOSTAERIOUS. I move pursuant to MCL 766.11B at this time to admit that exhibit.
Record reflect Ms. Smith is school counsel. All right, go ahead.
I have no objection for exam purposes.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mayor Roach.
Admit.
And with that, Your Honor, the people would call Officer Jeffrey Danan at this time.
Patrolman, if you could approach me and have you pause, raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. No, it's way help secret.
Good afternoon. Your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your first and last name and spell both for the record?
Mr. Jeffrey Dehan, Jeffry Dehan.
Thank you. And so what is your occupation?
I'm currently a traffic investigator with the CSI Office Department.
How long total in law enforcement, sir?
2 years.
And were you working in that capacity back on April 16th, 2024?
I was not.
Were you working in your capacity as a law enforcement officer?
Yes,
back
I
in that day,
was.
sir? Thank you. Did there come a time on that day where you responded to a resident located at, a residence located at 184 Vestry Drive?
Yes, I did.
And is that located in the city and county of Saginaw, state of Michigan?
Yes, I did.
And sir, why did you respond to that location on that date?
We received a call for, I believe it was a child not breathing.
And sir, approximately what time were you dispatched to the venue?
I believe it was 21:48 hours.
When you initially arrived on scene, what, if anything, did you observe at that time?
When I arrived at the townhomes, there was police and MMR at the front gate doing CPR on a child.
And given that others were already rendering aid to the child at that point, what, if anything, did you do following your arrival at the venue?
I went to the actual address inside the townhomes.
Did you make contact with anyone at that time?
Yes, I did.
Who did you make contact with, sir?
Thelma Bailey.
Okay. And without telling us what was said, did you take a statement from Miss Bailey regarding what had occurred that night?
Yes, I did.
And after you took Miss Bailey's statement, what was the next step in your investigation at that point?
I went upstairs and looked at the bathroom.
And were there any other members of law enforcement inside of the venue when you entered, or were you the first?
I was the first in. There was an officer with me.
Okay. What, if anything, did you observe when you entered the upstairs bathroom, sir?
When I went into the bathroom, I observed an adult-sized bathtub that was approximately half full with water. Inside of that tub was a baby tub, and inside of the baby tub, there was a pillow.
Sir, would you say you were able to get a fairly good look at both the child bath and the larger tub it was inside of?
Yes, I did.
What did you do after you observed the smaller tub inside of the larger tub in this bathroom?
Myself and the other officer went through the house to make sure that there was no other individuals there.
Prior to leaving the upstairs bathroom, did you take any photos or document what you had seen at all?
Yes, I did. I took 2 pictures of the tub.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you what have been pre-marked as people's proposed exhibits 2, 3, 4, and 5. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, if you could just flip through those for me, let me know if you recognize what is depicted in each of those photos.
Yes, I do.
And do those photos fairly and accurately represent what you observed that night while you were at 184 Vestry Drive?
Yes, it does.
All right. And specifically in the upstairs bathroom?
Correct.
All right. And at this time, people would move to admit people's proposed exhibits 2, 3, 4, and 5.
No objection for exam purposes.
All right,
Thank you.
2 through 5 should be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, sir, I believe you touched on this briefly, but after you finished photographing and observing the upstairs bathroom, what, if anything, did you do next?
Oh, I went through to make sure that there was nobody else in the house.
Did you locate anybody else inside the residence?
Yes, there was 2 sleeping children inside of a bedroom.
What, if anything, did you do once you finished clearing the residence?
From there, I just stayed until detectives arrived.
All right. Thank you so much, officer. I have nothing further for you at this time.
Well, officer, you were the first person into the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so to your knowledge, there was no other officers entered that house before you got there?
No. No, sir.
Okay. Did you believe other officers had entered the house before you got
I do not believe so.
there? Okay. And so everybody that you described, the child and the MMR and the police, were they right outside the residence?
No, sir.
How far from the residence were they?
It's a little bit of a drive from the front gate to the back of the venue. I couldn't give an exact guesstimation.
Besides the interview of Ms. Bailey, did you talk to anybody else in regards, at any point in time as part of this investigation? No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. Every day.
Next, the people would call Officer Caleb Gance.
I'm just gonna just pause right in front.
You're with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you please state your first and last name and spell your last name for the record?
Caleb Gallant, Gallant.
All right. And sir, what is your occupation?
I'm a police officer,
And how long have you been so employed?
a little over 2 years.
Sir, were you working in that capacity back on April 16th of this year?
I was.
All right. Did there come a time on that date, sir, where you responded to a residence located at 184 Vestry Drive? And is that in the city and county of Saginaw, state of Michigan?
It is.
And why did you respond to that location on that date, sir?
We were responding for a child that was unconscious.
Can you speak up a little bit so we can
Okay.
catch your voice? Thank you.
And did you actually go to the residence or did you, where did you end up going while you were en route to that location?
So I never responded to the residents. An officer that was in front of me while we were heading there saw a vehicle in front of the entrance to the apartment complex. And we made contact with Ms. Thomas and Nichols in the roadway in front of the apartment complex.
Okay, so when you say Ms. Thomas, do you see Ms. Thomas in court today?
I do.
All right, could you please point to her and describe where she's seated and what she's wearing?
She is seated on the left side of the room. She's wearing maroon.
Shall reflect ID.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. So once you made contact with the defendant and you said Nichols, would that be the child?
That is correct.
All right. What, if anything, did you do at that point when you made contact with these individuals?
So, because I was the second officer responding, Officer Kuhn, who responded immediately before me, removed Nichols from Ms. Thomas, and I assisted Officer Kuhn with CPR until medical professionals arrived on scene.
What, if anything, did you do after medical professionals arrived on scene?
I spoke with Ms. Thomas and continued just to essentially hold the scene until their tank was arrived.
You indicated that you spoke with Ms. Thomas. Did Ms. Thomas indicate to you what her relationship was to the child?
She was the mother of the child.
Were you able to speak with Ms. Thomas about what had occurred that night?
I was.
What, if anything, did she indicate to you had occurred that night involving her child?
She informed me that she was going to give Nichols a bath, that she filled the bathtub with water, that she placed Nichols in the bathtub, left the bathroom for approximately 20 minutes, and when she returned, she observed him in the water submerged.
Did she indicate what she had left the bathroom to go do for 20 minutes?
She said that she was picking up the house and then played Uno with her girlfriend.
Did she indicate to you what she observed when she returned upstairs and saw her child in the bathtub?
To my recollection, she just remembered that he was submerged underwater outside of the smaller bathtub that she placed inside of the large bathtub. She couldn't remember if he was face up, if he was down. She did say that she attempted to do CPR before going into her vehicle, which after they had entered the vehicle is when we made contact.
Oh. Thank you, officer. I have no further questions for you.
Officer Blunt, can you describe what Ms. Thomas's demeanor was?
She was upset. She was crying. She was definitely distraught. She on scene. She wanted to be with her son the whole time. We allowed that.
Were you the first officer to speak to her?
I cannot answer that.
I'm going to hand you. I'm going to hand you a portion of a police report that describes an alleged interview with Ms. Thomas. Could you just look at that and tell me if you authored that?
This was not a report I wrote.
Okay, it's not the report, but you read the content, is it what happened? Even though you didn't maybe author it, ouch. That you, would you agree that that was accurate as far as how?
I would object, Your Honor. If he says he didn't write the report, he has his own report, so I would object to him testifying as it relates to someone else's report.
I'm just asking about this report in the section that says an interview was performed, okay? And whether what is indicated in this report is an accurate depiction of what his interview was.
Well, if he interviewed her himself, then he can testify about his interview, but a separate interview that he was not present for, I'm not sure why he would be able to testify to that.
These are numerous officers contribute to these reports, okay? Even though there's technically really only one author, okay? And to ask him whether this report's accurate. I don't understand what the objection is.
And I'll allow the question.
You've read that. Is that a fairly accurate depiction of what your conversation with her was?
I would need to read it more in depth.
Sir.
I just.
I understand.
quickly to see it.
Did you bring a copy of your report? with you?
I did.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
Can I see it?
Yes, it's very similar to what this town told me.
Now, when she was giving you this information, she was upset?
Yes.
Okay. She's crying?
Yes.
Okay. As a matter of fact, it was difficult to follow? She was that crying that much?
I wouldn't say it was difficult to follow. It was difficult to get a complete timeline of the events.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
Here, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, officer. Okay.
At this time, the people would call Dasher Pritchett.
And if you could approach and have you pause right by the black microphone right here. On this one. And then once you're there, you just raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. A little louder?
Yes.
Okay, right there. Start your hand.
And your voice is low, so once you get seated, if you could just scoot up close to the mic, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. And can you please state your first and last name and spell both for the record?
Dashery Pritchett, P-A-S-H-A-R-A-Y, P-R-I-T-C-H-E-T-T.
Thank you. Ma'am, I want to take you back to April 16th of this year. Did there come a time on that date where you went to a residence located at 184 Vestry Drive?
Yes,
All right. And is that in the city and county of Saginaw, state of Michigan?
yes.
And why did you go to that address on that date?
I don't remember why, but that's my boyfriend's people's house, so we usually go there.
Okay. That it's your boyfriend's people's house. Who lives there?
Scenario, person. Person.
Okay. Do you recall what time of day you would have went over there on that day?
Yeah.
Was it nighttime, afternoon,
It was a night.
night? Okay. Who else was there at the residence when you arrived that night?
I don't know no names, but it was two other people.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay. You said Tenaria's house. Are you referring to the defendant, Tenaria Thomas?
Yes.
Okay. Was she there?
Yes,
Okay. And you said there were some kids that also lived there. Were they also there?
yes,
Okay. You said Tenaria has a girlfriend that lives there too. Was she also there?
yes.
Okay. What did all of you do after you arrived at the residence that night?
When I got there, I sat on the couch for a minute. I really didn't do anything but talk. I like the game.
Okay. You guys were
Could you
playing
have her
Uno?
keep her voice up?
We're having a hard time hearing you. So,
All right. Gotta make sure and be nice and loud for us, okay? All right. So you were playing Uno, you said?
Yeah,
Okay. That's a card game?
yeah.
Okay. Where in the house were you playing Uno?
Downstairs.
Okay. Do you remember who all was playing Uno?
Well, was, but when I first got there, it was the two other people and Tenaria and Velma. And they left, and then it was Velma, Tenaria, me, and Fred.
Okay. And Fred, that's your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were the kids while you guys were playing cards?
They was downstairs with us.
Did there come a time while you guys were playing that Tenaria left the game to go do something else?
Yeah,
Okay. What did she leave to go do?
she went upstairs to get the kids ready for bed.
Okay. What's the next thing that you remember after Tenaria went upstairs?
After that, me, Velma, and Fred played by ourselves while she was upstairs doing what she was doing.
Okay. Did she say exactly what she was gonna be doing upstairs?
Yes,
What'd she say?
she was going to take the kids to bath. And put them to bed.
Okay. How many kids did she have?
Two,
Okay. Do you know their approximate ages?
No.
Okay. Are they real little?
I think her oldest was 2. I'm not sure. And I don't know how old the baby was.
Okay. It was a baby? Okay. What happens after she takes the baby and the other child upstairs?
Um, excuse me. After that, she's thinking about, as far as I know, and she came back downstairs. But I don't know what was going on upstairs.
Do you hear anything when she's upstairs?
Yeah, I heard the kids up there playing.
Okay. Do you recall being interviewed back in June by Detective Jeb?
A little
Okay. Do you recall telling him you heard something else?
bit. No.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you a copy of your statement?
Mhm.
Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry, she's taking it all down. May I first the witness, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. This is page 9 of 9 of the most recent report, Mr. Evans. All right, Ms. Pritchett, I'm gonna have you look at that first highlighted line there. Just read it to yourself. Don't read it out loud. Look up at me when you're done. Does that refresh your memory as to what you said? Okay. So what is it that you heard when you were downstairs and Miss Thomas had gone upstairs to give her child a bath?
After that, she did come downstairs, but the shower head was on. But I didn't think nobody was in the tub. I thought she was gonna go back upstairs and take a shower.
Okay. So after she took her children upstairs and came back downstairs, you heard the shower on.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
After Ms. Thomas came downstairs, what did she do?
I don't really remember. Honestly, she did come downstairs. She stood next to the table. She said, "Excuse me."
I'm gonna stop you right there. Remember talking to Detective Jeb back in June?
mhm,
Is that a yes?
yes.
Okay. And do you remember telling him what Canaria did when she came back downstairs?
No.
Okay. Would it refresh your memory if you took a look at your statement again?
Yes.
Okay. May I first the witness, Your Honor? Same page, Matt, 9 of 9. All right, I'm gonna have you look at these next two highlighted lines. You're in here. Just read those to yourself and look up at me when you're all finished. Does that refresh your recollection now?
mhm,
Is that a yes?
yes.
Okay, sorry, she's gotta take it all down. All right, I'm gonna come get that back from you. So what did Ms. Thomas do when she came back downstairs?
Well, after she came upstairs, she did go in the kitchen and do something. And then they started passing out donor games and donor cards. And she grabbed her card, set it on the table, and then she went back upstairs.
Okay. About how long was Miss Thomas downstairs? Do you
How
remember,
long? You said,
5 minutes.
do you remember saying it was longer than that?
No, I don't know how long it was.
All right. Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you a copy of your statement?
Yes.
Okay. May I first the witness, Sharon? Thank you. All right, same page. Have you look at this fourth highlighted line there? Just read that to yourself and look up at me when you're done. Is that your fresh recollection?
Yeah.
I know it's been a while. All right, so about how long was Miss Thomas downstairs with you guys before going back upstairs?
About 2 minutes.
Okay. What happens after Miss Thomas goes back upstairs?
Started yelling. Yelling at us to fall now.
Okay. What did you do?
I went upstairs.
Okay. What happens when you run upstairs?
She had the baby in her hands and sitting there, just laying down on the floor to do CPR.
You still hear the water at that point?
I don't remember.
What happens next?
We've been in the car now and I don't remember what happened in the house after that, but and we had met the police at the front gate.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pritchett. I don't have any more questions for you, but Mr. Evans might have some questions.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Pritchett. I'm going to ask you some questions. If at any point in time you don't understand the question I'm asking, please stop me and I'll try to put it in a way that you do, okay? Now, this happened on April 16th of this year, correct? That the events that you just described. Okay. And in June, was that the first statement that you made to the police?
I think so.
Okay. Do you remember being interviewed any time before June 16th or June when you were interviewed?
I don't remember.
Okay. But you never went into the police station for an interview? You never went, they never came out to you for an interview?
No,
Under what circumstances did you give this interview? Were you at the police station?
no, they called my phone.
They called your phone?
Yeah,
Okay. So you never met face to face?
no,
Okay. And so 2 months had passed when you gave this rendition that you were just reviewed a couple times. So that was 2 months after the event. Okay, is that correct? June?
yeah,
Okay. And do you think your memory was a little bit better in April than it was in June?
I'm not sure.
You think you probably remember things better, like if they'd ask you right when it happened as opposed to 2 months later?
Yeah,
Okay. And so you said that she went upstairs to get the kids ready to go to bed.
yeah,
And there were 3 kids she had to get ready to bed?
2.
2? Okay. And you heard the kids playing upstairs, okay? And then you said that Miss Thomas came down and went into the kitchen, right?
Yes,
Okay. And it's after she was making bottles up for the kids, was she not?
I didn't pay attention. I didn't look at her when she went in the kitchen.
Okay. And that's when she went in the kitchen and did something. How long was she in the kitchen for?
About 5 minutes.
Okay. And you don't remember her carrying anything out or anything in her hands?
I never paid attention.
Okay. And you said that you guys were playing cards, correct? Okay. And your testimony, if I'm correct, is that she looked at her hand,
Yeah,
well, she dealt the cards, she just picked them up, looked at them, put them back down and went upstairs.
yeah,
Okay. And that's when that you heard the screaming and then she went upstairs and saw the child,
yeah,
correct? And so, you said there was 2 people that you didn't know who they were. there.
yeah,
Okay, so if I'm correct, it would be Miss Thomas, obviously was there. You were there. Your boyfriend was there. Velma was there. And then there's 2 other people that you don't know was there. Is that correct?
yeah.
Okay. And what were those 2 other people?
Sitting at the table.
They were playing cards as well?
Yeah,
How long do you think you were at the 184 Vestry address before this happened?
Yes, I don't remember.
Okay. So it was for a little bit of time, but not, you weren't there like hours and hours, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So, but you think approximately an hour, maybe more, maybe less?
yeah.
Okay. Have you been to that address before?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Pritchett, do you recall speaking to someone with CPS immediately after this happened? Back in April?
I do remember CPS calling, but I don't remember when.
Okay, but you did speak with somebody from CPS about this incident?
Yeah,
Also, the night that this happened, did Ms. Thomas tell you anything about what happened? Do you recall her saying to you what happened that night?
no,
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you took a look at your statement?
yes.
Can I first the witness? Thank you. Same page, counsel. Just the last highlighted line there. Just read that to yourself and look up at me. Does that refresh your memory?
Yeah,
Okay. What did Ms. Thomas tell you about what happened that night?
the baby was inside of, a baby tub inside of the tub.
And the last part?
The shower head was on.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any requests?
No question.
All right, Ms. Pritchett, thank you. Yeah. No objection.
Restroom.
We will not be calling you witnesses at this time.
All right. I guess.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on the testimony that the court has heard today, people who combined the defendant over as charged in the 2-count felony complaint. Defendant has been charged with involuntary manslaughter as well as second-degree child abuse. Again, the court has heard testimony as well as viewed 5 exhibits here that would certainly provide the requisite probable cause to support involuntary manslaughter under a theory of gross negligence, as well as child abuse in the second degree under a reckless act theory. Here we have the mother of a 6-month-old child who left her child unattended in a bathtub with the water running for approximately anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes while she went downstairs either to fiddle with things in the kitchen or play a game of Uno. Regardless, it is without question that we have a situation here where ordinary care and due diligence was certainly required, that was known to the defendant, and she instead chose to disregard that. And as a result, we have the loss of a 6-month-old child here. Based on that, Your Honor, based on the testimony evidence provided here today, I believe that the standard has been met. Thus, I would move to bind over as charged. Thank you.
Any comment?
Yes, Your Honor. This does not rise to the level of gross negligence. Okay. She went up to take care of her kids, turned on the shower head, went downstairs, did something in the kitchen, okay? Comes back, looks at her hands of her cards and goes right back upstairs. And that's when she saw the child. Was it negligent? Probably. Okay, does it rise to the level of gross negligence where you know that what's going to happen? And basically, that's what gross negligence is. It's something where anybody would know that that is probably what's going to happen. And I'm telling you, on these facts and what we have in this record, we can't come to that conclusion. Okay, we know that the child was placed in a smaller tub inside another tub. Water was running, but the water wasn't, but the drain was not closed. Okay, and it appears, well, let me stick to what's in the record, Your Honor. However, she went up. There was another child there. That is on this record. And we believe that at this point in time, that there is not sufficient evidence to bind over on count one, and we would ask that you not do so.
Well, today's purpose is only to determine whether or not the people can go forward with the evidence that they have presented. Many of the issues raised are those for a trier of fact to determine. For the purposes of today's hearing on whether or not the people have established probable cause, they have established probable cause in order for the defendant to be bound over. Is there anything further from the people?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
We would like to address the issue of bond, Your Honor.
You go ahead.
Now that the court has heard the testimony, we can discuss some things that are not in testimony, but it is part of our discovery material. It appears that she went upstairs, gave the children a bath. This is something she's done before, run the water. She actually describes it, how she runs the water in the tub, leaves the drain open, water goes in, a little bit, some of the water goes into the small bathtub that the child was in. And that's how she gives that child a bath. But she went downstairs, she got to feed the kids, she's doing other things. She comes back, okay, and that's when she discovered it. It wasn't like she was down there. It wasn't like how the press was like to view this as she's down there partying. She wasn't, okay? And the testimony here indicates that she wasn't. The testimony here doesn't indicate that she'd been drinking or under any influence of drug, okay? She went down, went back up, and lo and behold, now there is a rag or like a dish or like a hand cloth now has covered the drain. And now the water had built up into the tub, and then the child somehow got out of that. Okay, there was another child there, but we can't say what happened there. The child was 2, and really can't interview that. But this is not something where this is something. I'm a parent. Judge any kids. There's a saying that, but for the grace of God, we walk this. And as a parent, I've done stuff that you're thinking about everything, but you got a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, should she have done something different? Obviously, okay. But this isn't recklessness. This was just at the most careless. And this is something that she's done before. So this is not something that it's all new. It's not like she threw her in a tub and filled it up with water and left and went down to her friends. That's not what happened. Now, I understand the court, I understand the reasoning of the court, and the level of proof at this stage is low. However, the court can consider likelihood of conviction. Okay? And I don't think, based on these facts, I don't think that she's going to be convicted. We scored her guidelines at 12 to 24 months. Okay? So she doesn't have ridiculously high guidelines. Her priors are all retail frauds, and there's one assault and battery, I think, for a few years ago. Nothing child abuse. There's been nothing that indicates that this child, and if you look at the autopsy, this child was a healthy, well taken care of child. If you look at those photographs, that bathroom's clean. Okay? This isn't a bad environment for this child. In your honor, I would ask you that at this point in time that she be allowed to, if not on a PR bond, but as some sort of a nominal bond that she can make. She's got nowhere to go besides here. We would ask the court to consider that or a significant downward departure.
Anything in response from the people?
Judge, the last time that we were here, the court had already modified Ms. Thomas's bond. I obviously disagree with a number of the points that Mr. Evans has made regarding the likelihood of conviction. In fact, in a case that is extremely similar to this one, although in the case of People versus Smuts, that's SMUTZ, it's a 2020 case, it was a 14-month-old child who had drowned in the tub when the father of the child left the child unattended for approximately 2 to 6 minutes to go get cigarettes. It was proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant had committed the offense of involuntary manslaughter and second-degree child abuse. Again, under facts almost identical to those here, although here we have a 6-month-old being left unattended in a tub with the water running, and 10 to 20 minutes that the child was left unattended. So here we have slightly different facts, but again, the fact that she might have done this on a number of other occasions and simply had good luck that her child didn't drown on those other occasions is hardly a reason to consider lightening her bond, or hardly a reason to consider the fact that she would not most certainly be convicted at trial. Here, again, my concern about her being released at this point is the likelihood of conviction, the extreme likelihood that she's going to try to get custody or unsupervised visitation with her remaining child, which was a concern at the very beginning, as I already stated previously. I don't see a reason for this court to further modify her bond beyond what it already has. I leave it to the discretion of the court, but that is simply my 2 cents on the matter. Thank you.
This case has had another case with Ms. Thomas. Matter of fact, I sentenced her earlier today on that case. As I looked at the jacket of the case, there were 2 other occasions where she did not appear. So there is a concern with regard, not addressing the facts, not addressing the emotion that a mother has lost her child, but that this defendant has not appeared on other occasions. And that is the concern that the court has. Granted, with the testimony, I think what the court will do is take it under advisement at this time prior to bind over or not. I'd like to check some things out first. My concern, however, though, is the fact that the defendant did not follow in other cases, or at least in one other case. And in fact, this court had to issue bench warrants on other occasions in that case. And so I'd like to review the record on that. So with that, I'll take under advisement prior to bind over. I'll let the decision set in the bind over.
Thank you, Aaron.
Very nice.